My name is Valentin Villatoro. I go by Tino, and I'm a curriculum and instruction specialist at the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology. And I'm also a medical laboratory technologist, which will come into play in part of my presentation today. So I'm hoping that by the end of this session, we'll be able to discuss how to engage students and leverage existing resources to develop open education resources, or OER. To give you a bit of a background, when I was teaching at the University of Alberta, I was teaching a hematology course in the medical laboratory science program, and I came up against a problem. My students were tasked with studying and identifying blood cells and their abnormalities, and this required a lot of hands-on time on the microscope with specialized equipment, blood smears collected over years from tons of interesting patient cases. And the problem was that these slides tended to break or fade over time. So we needed a constant supply of new blood smears to replace old ones. And sometimes this got tricky because certain disease states are rare, or sort of what we call once in a career type of smears. So it was tricky to replace them. Students also had limited access to the lab, so they could only be there when an instructor was around during regular business hours, which really then limited their ability to practice. And so they lacked a lot of the equipment at home, and they found the textbooks that we used had, limited pictures, lots of unrelated content, and it was very difficult to find trustworthy sources online because they were either of questionable quality or inaccessible or behind a paywall. So we thought, what can we do about this situation? And we actually had a microscope in the lab equipped with a camera, but it was underutilized because we had nowhere to store the images, nowhere to share the images. And as you can all probably relate, or maybe not, time and resources were very scarce. So, who has the time to start capturing and cataloging all of these things? And so the solution we came up with was to attempt to find, and if not, create a repository of high quality blood smear images, and then to develop a customized resource for our students to use alongside the images. So unfortunately, even with the help of the library, we weren't able to find existing OER resources in the field of hematology. It's a very niche, area. And so we decided we're going to create our own. So this is the plan. We would set out to apply for funding because, like I alluded to earlier, resources were scarce. Recruit students, because that's the best way to sort of multiply your efforts. Manage the student projects with huge support from CTL and the library, and then publish OER for the masses because we didn't want to just keep it behind a paywall at the end of the day and limit others with the same problem that we had. So I have no expectation for you to be able to read this necessarily on your end, but I want to give you an idea of how long it took for these projects to develop. So early in the year, in 2018, we proposed two OER projects, one on creating the digital image repository and one on creating the OER ebook for hematology education. We received funding through two different awards, the OER, or the CTL Summer Student Employment Award and the OER Award, and then recruited current MedLab Science students, done their clinical year, so they have some theory and background and clinical experience under their belt, and then began to capture and curate digital learning objects and author the ebook content. And then with the support of CTL and the library, we found great platforms to house these and completed the curation of over 560 OER images and the first draft of the clinical hematology ebook, which was then disseminated, edited, and rolled out for use with students in 2019. The MedLab Science collection of images is actually housed on the University of Alberta's Education Research Archive. So thankfully, the U of A itself had a repository that is openly shared with the world and served as an excellent place to store and share the images that we were taking. And these images each, when you go to the site, which I'll share the link right away, unless Krista already has in the chat, each image allows you to view within the browser, to download, and also to see the metadata that's attached to it, including a description, other sort of like disease states and other related metadata, and has obviously a Creative Commons license to it. And so you can see this image particularly, I updated the screenshot yesterday. It was 84 views and 56 downloads for this one. So you can track some of the usage as well over time. As you can imagine, collecting all that metadata was a semi-laborious process, and using students can also be interesting as well. And so we created a system where we uploaded all the images and their attached metadata using a form, which then populated a spreadsheet that I then went through to ensure accuracy and quality. And so that was the supervisory role in this whole process. And then the end result was the image database itself, which we then used to help create this open education book on Pressbooks, which you can find on the Open Education Alberta Catalog, Laboratory Guide to Clinical Hematology. And again, Creative Commons license on the book itself. It's accessed through the web on a browser and compatible across multiple operating systems and devices. So you can access it on a computer, a laptop, a tablet, a cell phone. And each page has not just images and multiple images, but also descriptions, more information, associated disease states, if applicable, and references that students can check out as well for more. Each page has variable amounts of content with varying lengths, and some of these images are interactive using H5P, thank you. And they all link back to the research archive so that when you click on an image, you can expand it. You can go to the database and look for other related images to help students who just need more and more images and more examples. So yeah, thank you. You can feel free to contact me by email or Twitter. And special thanks to Gloria Kwan and Michelle To, who were my two students that helped me put this all together.